senator from Kentucky is recognized.
Pork barrel spending elicits images of politicos, fists full of cash to be passed out to the special interests. Pork barrel spending sounds bad and smells worse. Pork barrel spending is the original sin of Congress that big government types can't rid themselves of, can't rinse themselves clean of. Pork barrel spending is the grease that eases billions and trillions of deficit dollars to follow. What did our founders have to say about pork barrel spending, about earmarks? Well, the Constitution is quite clear. Taxation and spending are only allowed if they're for the general welfare. Justice Story, in our history, ruled that the General Welfare Clause was not a general grant of unlimited powers, but rather a limiting clause that meant that government taxation and spending must be for the general welfare of the people, not for parochial aid in Detroit. It's for the general welfare of people. The earmarks are pork barrel spending, and they are not included in the Constitution. Justice Story referred to Jefferson in reaching this conclusion. Jefferson wrote that the laying of taxes is the power and the general welfare is the purpose. So you can tax people generally, but you have to spend the money generally. It has to be what's good for everyone in America. It can't be good for Bubba Gump's Shrimp Museum in Louisiana. It can't be good for sugarcane in Louisiana. It's supposed to be for the general welfare of the entire United States. That's what Jefferson said. For a waterfront walkway in New Jersey, you heard that right, $4 million for a walkway, for a fancy new boardwalk to help New Jersey's shoreline compete with Staten Island's. We're $34 trillion in debt, and they're going to take money that's supposed to be for the general welfare to help one specific town. This is a town with a median income of $100,000. You think maybe they could pay for their own boardwalk? $3.5 trillion for Detroit's Thanksgiving Parade float makers' new headquarters. So the people who make the floats for the parade in Detroit are going to get a new headquarters. Does anybody think that's for the general welfare? This actually is giving money to a private company. Where in the Constitution does it say we can take money from everyone and give it to a private company? That's unconstitutional. The Metropolitan Museum of Art is getting $1.75 million. You say, well, I love art. We need to fund art. This is a regional art museum, and it's a museum that has a $5 billion endowment. Some of the richest people in our country give to this museum, and that's great. Their names are on the wings of the museum. That's great. We have always had support by rich people in our country for museums. That's great. But we don't need to be taxing the everyday working man in our country to send another $1 million to a museum in New York that has a $5 billion endowment. They also have $1 billion for the Environmental Justice Center in New York. There used to be justice that we thought should be colorblind. Now we have justice that is meted out based on the shade of your ideology. So if you're a crazy climate alarmist and you think the world's going to end and the polar bears are drowning from too much water, note to self, polar bears swim in the water, they live in the water. The polar bears are not drowning because of global warming. So we have the Environmental Justice Center, which is full of a bunch of crazy people who are only on one side of the issue. They believe that we should ban everything, cars, gas stoves. Your money's being sent to fund this politically charged nonsense that has nothing to do with justice. $500,000 for gardens in San Francisco. Now I understand the smell is bad in San Francisco from the human feces, from the waste, from the trash, from the litter, from the drug addicts that strew all of their needles across the place. It's a bad deal in San Francisco. But you know what? They need to clean their city up. They don't need to be asking for taxpayers in Kentucky and around the country to plant flowers for them to obscure the smell of their problem because they've let their city go to ruin. $1 million to a nonprofit in Minnesota to build a coffee shop for refugees. Think about this. You've just come to this country. Many of these are good people. They're some of the best Americans. They just got here, but we want to teach them about America. So instead of teaching the frugality of someone who's new that doesn't have much money, that you go to the grocery store and for 26 cents a cup, you can make your own coffee. Instead we say, why don't we give $1 million to a refugee center so they can have a coffee shop and serve up $7 lattes to teach the immigrants that this is what's great about America. No, it's great about America to get $7 lattes when you're paying for it, not when the government's paying for it.
So, is this what you really want to spend your taxes on? Is this what you really want our government to delegate our taxes out to? Has nothing to do with me here in California. I mean, San Francisco can clean up their own crap. They're the ones that put it there. Has nothing to do with folks out in South Carolina, North Carolina. Has nothing to do with anybody in Illinois or Tennessee or Montana or Idaho or Texas. All these pork barrel spending issues need to be stopped. And somebody, I hope a Republican does it, wake up everybody out there at the House, at the Senate, pass a freaking bill that says when you initiate a bill, there can be no attachments to the bill. You know, so when we vote for what the bill's header says, this is what this bill's about, then that's what this bill's about. There's no backdoor pork barrel spending BS on the backside of it that nobody seems to know about. And we vote for something and end up shooting ourselves in the foot because you guys tack on a lot of stuff on the backside of the bill. There should be a bill that says no more backdoor, no more addeds, addendums, attachments, or anything to a bill. You want to propose a bill to whatever, then that's what that bill should be, for that whatever thing, nothing else. The American people just needs to buckle down and tell our current government, get it right, or we'll all just stop paying taxes, and then we'll see how far you go with your spending of money that isn't there. I know I'm done paying for all of this crap. I'm done paying for a war in Ukraine that has nothing to do with America, no matter what the lies they're telling you. I'm done paying for illegal aliens now getting free government-sponsored attorneys to defend an illegal alien in California against the federal government so they don't get deported. I'm done paying for illegal aliens getting free medical, free housing, $10,000 debit card, when American citizens don't get any of that. And you're dumping our veterans out of motels and hotels to stick these criminals in there that Joe Biden has invited into this country and has scattered across the country. I'm sick and tired of a president who is violating his oath of office, violating the laws of the land, and nobody's doing a damn thing about it. Okay? Senator Rand Paul, you seem to be on the front lines. Keep it up. Get the job done. And get your team, get the Republican Party on board. And the American people are sick and tired of this. There's a lot I could say, but you know what? Each and every state needs to stand up and say enough is enough. Voters in California, you need to get rid of Gavin Newsom. He's destroyed San Francisco, and now he's destroying the rest of California. I don't care if you don't like Trump. That's not the issue. The issue is, I used to be able to go to work on $30 of gas. Now it costs me $100 or more to go to work and home. I used to be able to provide food for my family, fill up a grocery cart with overflowing or all the way full for a couple $100, maybe $300. Now, 2 little tiny bags from Walmart cost me $50 A third bag can cost me over $100, and I don't have enough food to get through 5 days. That's the issue. Stop voting Democrat. For crying out loud. They're enslaving you. They're enslaving all of us. They're destroying the country. Get your heads out of your asses and start looking around and see what the hell is going on. That's my opinion. And you haven't heard it just from me. You've heard it from Rand Paul. You've heard it all around the country. People are talking. Truckers are talking. Everybody's talking. Stop being so delusional. You know, they call it Trump derangement syndrome, TDS. Well, you know what? It's STDS, severe Trump derangement syndrome. So if you don't want to suffer from an STD, stop being a liberal idiot. Get on board, save America, save the country, save yourselves. Because if you don't save America, you're going down with the ship, along with the rest of us. Good day.